In this lesson we'll be working in the round and making a circle with rounds of half treble stitches. Let's begin by looking at a stitch diagram for working the first 3 rounds of half trebles. There are different ways to start a crochet circle, and I like to begin with a ring of chains. In this tutorial we'll begin with a foundation ring of 6 chains joined with a slip stitch. Half treble stitches are the height of 2 chains, so round 1 will begin with 2 chains, and in this lesson the first 2 chains will count as a half treble stitch. 11 half trebles are worked into the middle of the ring of chains. This makes 12 stitches in total. Round 1 is joined with a slip stitch to close the circle. Round 2 begins with 2 chains, which count as a half treble, and a half treble increase is worked into every stitch on round 1. This makes 24 stitches in total. Round 3 begins with 2 chains and a half treble into the same stitch. A half treble increase is worked into every second stitch on round 2, and this makes 36 stitches in total. As the circle gets bigger, we'll increase the number of stitches in multiples of 12, because this is the number of stitches we began with. So let's look at that in practice. We'll begin with a slip knot and chains. I'm working with a foundation ring of 6 chains. And I'll join these to make a ring by working a slip stitch into the first chain. You can find this by counting 6 stitches back from your hook. Insert your hook into this first chain. Yarn over, draw the yarn through the chain and through the loop on your hook. Work 2 chains. This counts as your first stitch. Round 1 is worked into the middle of the ring of chains, so make sure you can find this hole. Wrap the yarn over your hook, then insert your hook into the hole. Yarn over again and draw the yarn through the hole. This makes 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw the thread through all 3 loops on your hook. This completes the first half treble stitch. Continue to work 10 more half trebles into the ring to make 12 stitches in total, including the first 2 chains. Count back from the working stitch to be sure you can identify all your stitches. The 12th stitch is the second chain where you began this round, and this is where you'll be joining this round with a slip stitch. You'll see that there are 2 ways you can join into this chain. The first method just picks up 1 thread, and this can make quite an open, loose join. The second method means going into the chain at a slightly different angle, and this allows you to pick up 2 threads, which will give you a much firmer join, and this is the method that I prefer. Insert your hook into this chain, yarn over, draw the thread through the chain and through the loop on your hook, and this completes the first round. Begin round 2 with 2 chains and 1 half treble into the chain where you joined your first round. Now continue to work a half treble increase into the next 11 stitches. This means you're working 2 half trebles into every stitch, and this will make 24 stitches in total, including your first 2 chains. When you've worked your last half treble, it may look like you still have 1 stitch to work into, but this is your slip stitch on the previous round, so ignore this stitch. You might want to pause here and count your stitches. There should be 24 in total, including the first 2 chains. Now work a slip stitch into the second chain to complete this round. Begin round 3 with 2 chains and 1 half treble into the chain where you joined the previous round. Work 1 half treble into the next stitch and work a half treble increase into the next stitch. Work a half treble into the next stitch and continue to work a half treble increase into every second stitch to the end of the round. Remember not to work into the slip stitch on the previous round at the end of this round. There'll be 36 stitches in total, including the first 2 chains. Now work a slip stitch into the second chain to complete this round. Begin round 4 with 2 chains and 1 half treble into the chain where you joined the previous round. Work 1 half treble into each of the next 2 stitches and work a half treble increase into the next stitch. Work a half treble into each of the next 2 stitches and continue to work a half treble increase into every third stitch to the end of the round. This makes 48 stitches in total, including the first 2 chains. Now work a slip stitch into the second chain to complete this round. We won't be working any increases on round 5, and this will help to ensure that the circle lays nice and flat without any curly edges. So we'll work 2 chains, which counts as a half treble, and then we'll work 1 half treble into every stitch to the end of the round. So there are still 48 stitches in total. Work a slip stitch into the second chain to complete this round. So this is the formula for crocheting a circle. Begin by increasing on every stitch. The next increase will be every second stitch. The next increase will be every third stitch, then every fourth stitch, and so on. And occasionally there'll be a round with no increases. The pattern will indicate when to do this, and if you're just experimenting, this is really trial and error until you get it right.